Hello everyone. Before we start, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with where you're from and what time you're watching. That way, YouTube will keep showing you stories just like this one. Now, let's begin. I've worked a lot of late-night shifts in my life, but nothing compares to the graveyard shift at the old Burger King just outside town. Most nights it's dead quiet, maybe 1 or 2 cars an hour, but there's something about this place after midnight that feels wrong. The first time I noticed it was a Tuesday night around 1:30 a.m. I was wiping down the front counter when I saw movement on the security monitor. At first, I thought it was a car pulling up to the drive-thru, but it wasn't. It was a man. He wasn't ordering. He wasn't even near the menu board. He was just standing in the middle of the lane, staring directly at the camera. I picked up the headset and asked, can I take your order? The man tilted his head but didn't say a word. Then he slowly lifted a hand and pointed. Not at the menu, but at me, straight through the camera lens. I went to check, but when I opened the drive-thru window, there was no one there. The lane was completely empty. I laughed nervously, thinking maybe I was just tired. But when I turned back to the kitchen, I saw something that made me freeze. There was a paper crown sitting on the prep counter. I didn't put it there. I hadn't even touched those crowns all night. And on the inside, scrawled in black marker, was a single word: stay. The rest of the night, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Every time I looked at the monitors, I expected to see him again, and just before closing, I did. This time, he was inside the dining area. The lobby doors were locked, but he was just standing there, a few feet from the counter, wearing a crown, his smile stretched unnaturally wide. I blinked, and he was gone. The next night, I almost didn't show up for my shift. But I needed the job, so I convinced myself it was just exhaustion or my imagination. For the first couple of hours, everything was normal. No strange customers, no weird noises. Then, at 2:15 a.m., the headset crackled. "We're hungry." I froze. "Who is this?" I asked. "You, United States, all of us. We're hungry, and you're going to feed us." The voice was distorted, almost metallic. I turned toward the monitors, and my stomach dropped. There were 4 men standing outside now, all wearing crowns, all staring at the entrance. I stood frozen, staring at the monitor as the 4 figures outside began to move. Slowly, almost in sync. They weren't walking toward the drive-thru lane or the parking lot. They were heading straight for the main entrance. The doors were locked, but I still ran to the front and checked. They were standing there now, close enough that I could see the cheap, crumpled crowns on their heads. Their faces were pale and stiff. Their smiles unnaturally wide, like their skin was being stretched from the inside. One of them raised his hand and tapped on the glass. Tap, tap, tap. The sound cut through the silence like nails on a chalkboard. "Look, I don't know what you want, but you need to leave," I called out, trying to sound braver than I felt. The man on the left tilted his head slowly. His grin didn't move, but I swear I heard a whisper. It wasn't through the glass. It was inside my headset, which I hadn't even touched. "Feed us, or we come in." I backed away, every instinct screaming at me to run. I grabbed my phone to call the police, but the screen flickered and froze. Every app crashed. The screen went black. Then, one by one, every light inside the Burger King flickered off. I was standing in total darkness, the only light coming from the faint glow of the fryer. I could hear footsteps now, but they weren't outside. They were inside. I ducked behind the counter, heart pounding. Something brushed against the soda machine, something heavy. I could hear low breathing, uneven and wheezing, like someone had been running for too long. I peeked over the counter, and that's when I saw it. A paper crown, slowly sliding across the floor. No hands, no one touching it, just moving on its own. The whisper came again, but louder this time. "Sit, eat, be one of us." I bolted. I didn't even think. I sprinted to the back exit, shoving through the emergency door and out into the freezing night. My shoes slipped on the wet pavement as I tore across the empty parking lot. Behind me, I heard the sound of doors slamming open, all of them at once. I didn't stop until I was in my car, locking the doors and speeding off. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely keep hold of the wheel. The cops found nothing when they checked the restaurant. No footprints, no signs of forced entry. No men on the cameras, just static where the lobby feed should have been. I quit the next morning, but I can't escape it. Last night, I found a Burger King bag on my doorstep. Inside was a single cold burger, and under the bun, written in black marker, were 4 words, "We are still hungry." I had just started working night shifts at a Burger King on the edge of town. The manager told me, "You'll be fine. We never get many customers after 10 p.m. He wasn't lying. The place was almost too quiet. After the last evening rush, it felt like I was working inside a ghost town with the hum of the fryers as the only sound. But on my 3rd night, things started to feel wrong. I was mopping the lobby when I noticed one of the security monitors flickering. At first I thought it was static, but then I realized the camera over the drive-thru lane was moving on its own, slowly panning from side to side. I called into the headset, thinking maybe the manager was checking the feeds remotely. No response. That's when I saw it. A car had pulled into the drive-thru lane. No headlights, just sitting there. I walked up to the window and peered out. I couldn't see inside. The windows were too tinted, but the car didn't move forward to place an order. It just sat there, engine humming softly. Hello? I called through the speaker. No answer. I waited another minute, then stepped outside to check. The car was gone, not pulling out of the lot, not driving off, just gone. I was restocking the sauces when I heard a faint tapping sound from the dining area, like someone drumming their fingers on a table. I thought maybe a customer had come in while I was in the back. "Hello?" I called, stepping out. Empty. Every table is perfectly clean, except one. There was a single paper crown on the middle table, standing upright, like someone had carefully placed it there. I laughed nervously, thinking maybe one of my co-workers was playing a prank. But then I noticed something that froze me in place. There was a message written on the inside of the crown, scrawled in black marker. "Sit here and eat. We want to watch you." I tossed the crown in the trash and went back behind the counter, pretending nothing had happened. But that uneasy feeling wouldn't go away. Around 12:45 a.m., I heard the drive-thru headset crackle. "Hello?" I said, hoping for a real customer. A man's voice came through, low and distorted. "Don't throw away our gifts." I ripped the headset off and turned toward the window. There was a man standing in the drive-thru lane. No car, just standing there. He was wearing one of those paper crowns, and he was holding something long and sharp. I ducked behind the counter, heart slamming in my chest. I didn't want to look again, but I had to. I peeked through the corner of the drive-thru window. He was gone. I tried to calm myself, convincing my mind that it was just a drunk guy messing around. But then the headset crackled again. "We're not drunk, we're hungry." I felt my blood run cold. I turned off the headset completely, ripped it from my ear, and shoved it onto the counter. The tapping sound came back. This time, louder, like fingers drumming right behind me. I spun around. Nobody. Then I noticed the crown, the same one I'd thrown in the trash. It was back on the counter, perfectly placed, upright. I backed away, grabbing my phone to call my manager. No signal. I looked up at the security monitors. Every single camera feed was wrong. On one screen I saw the kitchen, but there was a man standing there. A man in a crown. He wasn't real. I could see the empty kitchen with my own eyes. But on the monitor, he was standing completely still, facing the camera, holding a large kitchen knife. I flipped to another feed. The parking lot. There were now 3 men in paper crowns, standing side by side, just outside the main entrance, all facing the doors. None of them moved. I panicked and ran to the back office to lock myself in. I grabbed the landline and called 911. The operator's voice answered, but the line was filled with static. I barely got out my location when I heard it. The front doors opening. The bell chimed once, twice, 3 times, then silence. I pressed myself against the office door, holding it shut, listening to every creak of the floor. There was this low humming sound now, almost like they were chanting. "Sit, eat, be one of us." The voice was so close, I couldn't tell if it was in my head or just outside the door. Suddenly, the office light flickered and died. The security monitor went black. And then, from under the door, I saw it. A paper crown, slowly sliding into the room. My breath caught in my throat. I kicked it away and bolted out of the back exit, sprinting into the parking lot. The cold air hit me like a wall, but I didn't stop. I didn't look back. When the cops finally arrived, they found the place empty. No men, no cars, nothing. The only thing left inside was that crown. On the inside, written in thick black marker, "Next shift, we'll eat together." I quit the next morning. I haven't gone near that Burger King since. But last night, when I got home, there was a takeout bag waiting on my doorstep. Inside, under a cold burger, was another crown. And this time, the message was different. "We know where you live now." It was almost midnight when I pulled into the Burger King drive-thru. I was starving, and it was the only place open in our quiet little town. The place looked wrong. The parking lot was empty. Not a single car. Even the neon sign buzzed faintly, flickering like it was on its last breath. I placed my order, just a simple burger and fries, but the voice on the intercom didn't sound right. It wasn't cheerful. It was slow, drawn out, like every word was carefully measured. "Pull forward. We're waiting for you." I laughed nervously. Okay. When I reached the window, no one was there. The inside was dimly lit, the kitchen quiet. I could see trays of food on the counter, but no workers. Not one. I parked my car and stepped inside. The bell above the door chimed, echoing way too loud in the silence. The entire place smelled stale, like the grease had been sitting for days. "Hello?" I called out. No answer. That's when I noticed the camera above the register turning, not just facing me, but tracking me as I moved. I took a step back and the camera followed. Another one, near the entrance, shifted slightly too. And then, from the kitchen, I heard it. Footsteps, slow, wet, dragging. I should have left right then, but I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me. Suddenly, the soda machine hissed loudly, like it had turned on by itself. I spun around, and that's when I saw him. A man standing at the far end of the dining area, just beyond the dim lights. He wasn't wearing a uniform. He wasn't moving. He was holding something, a paper crown. And he was smiling, but his face didn't look right. It looked stretched. I froze. The man didn't move an inch, but I swear I saw his grin widen under the flickering lights. "Sir, are you working here?" My voice cracked. Nothing. I backed up slowly, but as I did, his head tilted to the side in this unnerving, puppet-like motion. His hand raised, not to wave, but to slowly place that cheap paper crown on his head. "Do you want to be the king?" The words were low, rasping, but somehow they came from him, even though his lips never moved. I turned for the door, heart hammering, but the bell above the entrance started chiming by itself, like someone was slamming it over and over. Ding, ding, ding. I stumbled backward, and when I looked again, the man wasn't there. The dining area was empty, except for a single tray on one of the tables. My order, burger, fries, drink, but the burger box was slightly open, like someone had taken a bite. The fries were arranged into a strange pattern, a smiley face. That's when I heard it. Footsteps, coming from the kitchen again. Faster this time. I ran. I didn't even think. I bolted out the door to my car, but the parking lot wasn't empty anymore. There were 3 cars now, all black sedans, parked at odd angles. Their engines were running, but there was no one inside. I jumped into my car, fumbling for my keys. The lights in the restaurant flickered violently, and for just a second, I saw his face in every window. That same stretched grin, the paper crown tilted, watching me. I sped out of the lot without looking back. But when I got home, I realized something that made my stomach drop. The Burger King bag was on my passenger seat. I never grabbed it. Inside, the burger box had a note. "Next time, don't run. Kings don't run." And taped to the note was a photo of me, taken while I was inside the restaurant. I haven't gone near that Burger King since. But 2 nights ago, as I parked outside my apartment, I saw a paper crown sitting on my doorstep. And I swear I heard that same voice whisper in the dark. "We're still waiting for you."